Once we join the sub 2 community, we have to wholesale because that's what they're telling us. That's
Oh,
your first
yeah.
path. We don't want to do this wholesaling thing. This is a job. We had some properties, long-term rentals. We had one that was a lease option, and we did some creative deals. But when those closed, I didn't have a happy moment. I want to help like 10,000 people. Still working on some tweaks here, but the goal is to help like 10,000 entrepreneurs get to the next level.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to Be the Connection podcast, where we dive into stories of community, mentorship, and success. My mission is to bring you inspiring conversations, real insights, and the kind of value that helps you grow. So grab a seat, settle in, and let's get connected. Hey, everyone, my name is B, and welcome to Be the Connection. Today's guest is Aaron. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me,
Yeah.
and look forward to being on your podcast.
Tell me about yourself. We all want to know, who is Aaron? What's going on in his life? And we want to know the good, the ugly, the success stories, the losses, and just kind of what led you here.
I don't know if we have enough time for all of that, so we'll try to squeeze in what we can.
Yes, yes.
Who am I? So I have a amazing wife. I have 3 kids. We have grandbabies. I mean, despite my young looks, I am no spring chicken. So I've been around for a little bit. I was in the Navy for a while, got out, built my first company. I had a brick and mortar car stereo shop in Central California for about 15 years. Uh, Ended up getting out of that business, relocating up to Oregon, where for a little over 15 years, we had a cattle operation raising beef cattle. And
Ooh.
then at some point got into real estate, probably about 5, 6 years ago. When was it? 2019, I think we got into real estate. Technically in '06, we had our first rental, but it was a horrible experience. Horrible.
That's how it
So
always
we said,
goes,
we're
right?
not
Your
doing,
first one.
oh yeah, absolutely. So we're like, okay, we're not doing that again. And then many moons later, uh, I said, there's got to be more. And so I started doing some investing, playing with stocks and some stuff like that. And I knew real estate was end game because it's not going anywhere, right? So we eventually decided to get into real estate. We did a couple of private money and and seed on timelines, but I think one of our first deals was a private lending deal. I know our first property that we bought was in March of 2020, a
Mhm.
good old COVID. So we bought that remotely. We're in Oregon. We bought that in Oklahoma City. Never went out there, sight unseen, just got priced out of our local market. So decided to pick other markets, and that was one of them that I chose. And so since then, I mean, we've done a handful of everything, right? Once we joined the sub 2 community, then we're like, well, we have to wholesale because that's what they're telling us. That's what everybody says. That's your
Oh,
first
yeah.
path, right? So we're like, okay, well, we don't want to. We just want passive income, right? We just wanted to own properties like everybody else, right? We don't want to do this wholesaling thing. This is a job. And so yeah, we went down that path and said, okay, let's go, and got the VAs, built the team, was doing some wholesaling. Didn't really get any traction that first year being in sub 2 because we didn't engage really with the community.
Mhm.
Stubbornness kind of mindset. And it was always hard for me because, you hear it all the time. Well, you got to lead with value. So don't go ask somebody for something without bringing them value. Well, it's kind of like having you need to go out and get work experience before you apply for your first job. How am I going to bring you value if I don't know what it is that you need?
Yep.
So, I mean, that was one of the things that I was like, okay, well, I don't know what they need, and that's outside my comfort zone. So I'll just put my head down and grind, bang my head on the wall and figure it out myself. But after the first year, I mean, we did some wholesale deals, but no real solid traction. Then we started squadding up with local people in our community. I mean, when we joined, I think there were probably about 1,200 people or less when we joined.
Oh,
So
wow. Yeah.
there weren't any meetups in our local market.
Yeah. Especially
So it
in
took about a
Oregon,
year.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's only a handful of us, and Oregon's pretty spread out anyway. But it was about a year before we got a local leader and she started doing the meetups. Then we got a lot more involved and started bringing in as many people as we could on the deals to see how many people we could get involved in one deal.
What was that initial push that made you decide, okay, we definitely need to join sub 2. We need to join and start, wholesaling, despite not wanting to do it?
Big push was we had already bought our first rental property. We did it conventional. We had already been in a couple of private lending deals. It was a duplex in Oklahoma City that I was negotiating on, and there were renters in place, and we wanted them out. And one of our contingencies was that existing owner, the seller, go ahead and give them notice that she's selling the property, and they got 30 days or whatever it was. I can't remember. And they really didn't want to do that. The seller really didn't want to do that for whatever reason. I'm like, look, no problem. I'll draft everything. All you got to do is just give it to them because it's going to take like an extra 30 days and all the things. So
Right.
we're looking at timelines, and I was like, look, I'll give you your price. This is the one thing that I need. And that's probably what it was that gave that push to join Sub 2. I
I
had no
feel
idea
like
what I was
Pace
getting into.
Yeah, I feel like Pace always has a way of telling his stories that really captivate us, and then it's like, "Yep, there you go. That's it. That's what we need to do."
Yeah, totally agree. I don't remember if it was that much in the beginning. I mean, he's an amazing storyteller. I don't remember him telling as many stories or being as good a storyteller back in the
Yeah.
early days. So I can't remember. I mean, I couldn't tell you that there is this one video that really sold me
Yeah.
kind of deal. But it's been awesome. I mean, we've been in the community for over 4 years, and all of our best friends are in the community, all of mine anyway. And it's been awesome to see him and some of my other friends grow and see the things that everybody's doing.
I know when we first met, I was joined and I was learning underwriting, and you helped me. You were like, "Oh yeah, what do you need? What's the address?" And you helped me with some of the comps for that property. And so I just realized, like, I would always see you in the underwriting Zoom, and I'm like, he's really good at underwriting. Let's break him out of his shell. Let's see. When that happened, obviously, you started wholesaling. You figured, okay, this kind of isn't it. You decided, okay, more along the lending side, right?
No, at that point, we weren't
Yeah.
really thinking about, oh, we want to be lenders. I mean, the Gator community was like, I mean, it might have been a thought in Pace's mind, but it wasn't a thing yet. So
Okay.
being a lender wasn't top of mind at all. We had just invested in some people's deals. So we did the wholesaling. We had some properties, long-term rentals. We had one that was a lease option. So we had a tenant buyer in there, and we did some creative deals. But when those closed, I didn't have a happy moment.
Hmm.
It wasn't I don't really know if I'm explaining it right at all, but it wasn't, yes, we did it kind of deal. There was
Yeah.
no, it was just like, okay, cool, golf clap.
It didn't give you the
Let's go.
fizz. It was just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it
So,
is
and
another
there's a
thing
couple,
happened. Okay.
yeah, pretty much. I was like, okay, we close. Great. Now we got to find a tenant. Now we got to I mean, it was always just looking to the next thing. It was never, I mean, we made it a point to stop and celebrate the small wins, but it didn't feel like a win, for me. And so there's a couple of moments. Well, there's many moments throughout life, but there's a couple of moments that I could look back and go, hey, this was a fork in the road for me. Joining Sub 2 was, but it didn't come until later. Taking the underwriting course and Bo Divine, that was definitely a fork in the road for me because we had already done stuff, right? We'd already done the wholesaling, we'd already done the lending, had already been private money partners, had rentals. So none of those had really done it. But when I took the underwriting course, I was like, this resonates. This is,
Hmm.
I could do this all day and I don't have
Yeah.
to talk to sellers and I could spend all day in Excel. Let's go. Right.
Yeah.
So after that, and after I posted that badge, I had so many people reach out to me needing an underwriter for their team or whatever the case was that I realized that there was clearly a need, even
Hmm.
though there's an underwriting Zoom in the community every day of the week. There's a need. So
Yeah.
that spurred me building a whole separate underwriting business that all we do is underwrite deals.
That's amazing. I know, and it's crucial, right? Like that's the foundation of what it is when you do any type of real estate. It comes down to the underwriting. And that's one thing that, when you're structuring the deal, when you're in the deal, it's like, do your numbers make sense? Because I know when I get the deal, it should have been already your due diligence. You should have already done all the numbers. Like, I don't do that part. But am amazed at how many people just skip over that, and they don't realize that, hey, you gotta have that down if you want to make sure that you're making a profit. You want to make sure that it's a win-win for everybody. And so what was that like? Especially you've been on the sidelines kind of just watching, saying, okay, oh, I found this, and now people are coming to you. What was that like?
That was rough on so many levels. I mean, I'm fine with one-on-ones,
Yeah. Hmm.
right? And getting to know people and, some you vibe with, some you don't. So that part was fine, talking to people. The difficult part was figuring out a way to monetize it, because at that point there was nobody else doing it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how much time I spent Googling and all the other things trying to find some kind of similar model that I could then tweak and replicate and model after. And it didn't happen. I mean, it was so a couple of people that I talked to about it, it was like cutting a path through the jungle. That's what it felt like, because there was nothing to model off of. So there was a lot of failures trying to, well, let me try to do it this way. No, that's not really working. Let me try to do it this way. Oh, that didn't really work. So it took a while to figure out a way that worked. And then I was able and super happy to share that with new underwriters as they got certified. We would normally get on a call and, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's all the documents that I created that, use them, tweak them, put your own stuff in them. And this is a way that you can make money underwriting. And most of them, I don't think ever really did anything with that.
Yeah.
But it made me feel good being able to help.
Yes. And that suits you so well, because it takes a special kind of talent. And I got to give it to you for doing the underwriting. It really does. There's not many of you. So you're very special, and you're very, very, very important. I mean it. I mean it when I say this, because a lot of people, like I said, they just like to skip over it. You face the challenges. It was kind of rough, just kind of figuring out, okay, how do I monetize this? How did it, I mean, that was the beginning, right? So this was already now, like, I'd say couple years ago. How has it been now since?
Now that I have the systems and processes in place, it's
Easy
nothing. I mean,
breezy.
it's yeah. So I live by my calendar, and so I have certain blocks of time each day that I do underwriting. Most of the underwriting that I'm doing now is for 95% of it is residential, and probably 95% of that is actually for private money lenders and capital raisers. So I'm not just looking at it from is it a deal? I'm looking
Yes.
at it from is it a deal? But in second or third position, are they going to get their money back?
Right. Is it an asset?
Yeah. I'm less focused on Excel and the numbers and more focused on what risks are involved and how do we mitigate some of those risks. So the processes and the systems are in place. I mean, I have some that are doing such high volume that during my windows, I'm logging into their CRMs because I got an alert saying that, basically fractional underwriting services.
Yeah.
As well as just
Wow.
one-off stuff here and there. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
And
And I've been able to use it to help people buy businesses or to get funding for their businesses. So it's
really,
yeah, it's good. I get to help people. That's awesome.
tell me more about that.
Well, on the private lending side and the capital raisers, I had one capital raiser that was doing volume that they were a good handful of the stuff that came through was business related. I mean, some of it was like anything else, right? It's not a deal. But there were some that were actually worth investing in or lending on. One of them that I can remember was a HVAC company in Texas. I can't remember where in Texas, but it was an HVAC company in Texas, and it was just part of a roll up strategy. And so they were basically just buying the assets. And so that one was approved and it got funded. And then outside of working with my capital raisers, I had somebody that I worked with to help them buy a property management company in Idaho.
Yeah. What other kind of businesses?
There's been a lot of stuff that's come through, but not much that's been that anything has happened with that has been an actual deal. I mean, I'll have people bring me stuff. There was one it was back east. I want to say it was in one of the Carolinas, maybe Georgia, but it was like it's an automotive shop, an established automotive business, but it's a rural property on a rural property that also has a 3-story house that also has a little pond out back because there's acreage and a little amphitheater. So we're going to turn this into an event space. And over here, we're going to add cabins. And this house, we're going to turn it into a 3-unit. So we're going to convert this 3-story 1800s house into a triplex. There's been a couple of weird ones like that where it's like this bundle of stuff that all needs to be underwritten. So
Yeah.
everything needs to be underwritten separately. And then essentially, I'm not telling anybody, yes, you should do this or don't do this because I got all them disclaimers, right? Not a CPA,
Right.
not a
Yes.
lawyer, not a dog
Correct.
groomer. So yeah, I could just advise that, yeah, this is how the numbers pencil. These are the risks that I see. That ends up going to lenders as well. But yeah, there's been a few that are bundles like that it's a winery and it's somebody that I don't know how they came across the deal, but they want to buy it. They have no experience in any of the multiple fields related to this thing, and then it's like, okay, well, here's how it all shakes out. How are you going to fund it?
Mm.
Oh, well, I need to figure that out.
That's
And then
pretty
I've
neat.
negotiated on some stuff myself because moving forward this year, I'm buying businesses.
Yes.
So
What
yeah,
kind
I
of
was
businesses are you
negotiating
interested in?
on, ooh, well, I'm working on that buy box because I got to get that dialed in and nailed down so I can share with people. Home service based businesses and there's some professional services that I think I'm going to look at. One of the ones that I was negotiating on recently for myself was loan servicing company
Mhm.
that once somebody else pointed it out to me, I didn't see it right away, is kind of a vertical for my underwriting company. So it ended up being, okay, this could be a nice little bolt-on addition, but that didn't end up working out. So yeah, I'm just still looking. I
Yeah.
originally thought that I had to stay local, but I've since had my mind broadened
Yes.
that buying businesses remotely is no different than buying a property remotely and putting a property manager in place. So
Mhm. Yeah. And I
yeah,
think too, once you get that, like you said, the systems and processes down, you could just repeat it, rinse and repeat. So, with some of those challenges that you faced, for someone out there listening, what would be some advice that you would give them, especially to help guide them during, that starting stage and figuring out where it is that they should go and what or do?
know thyself. That took me a long time to learn. I mean, if I was to go back and look at the last 10 years or whatever and look at it as an investment on a chart, it was probably within the last few years that there was actually some kind of hockey stick movement. And it was when I started engaging and squadding up and not trying to do everything on my own. It was when I realized the importance of self development and reading books. It's crazy, but reading books, yeah, a lot of it was self development. And so, I mean, I'm definitely not the person that I was 3 years, 4 years, 1 year ago, and hopefully it's for the better. But if we're not growing, we're dying. I mean, just like a plant or anything else, we're those are your two options. So
Why do you think it was important for you to go through that?
think it was just my time. I mean, I've told because I've heard it so much, and it's crazy, right? Because once I started reading all the things that I've heard the people that I follow say, right, those really cool little, oh, that's so deep, oh, that's so cool. I mean, it's stuff that was said in books that were written 30 years ago. So it was really interesting because it was like all these pieces started falling in place. It was kind of like I was never a football quarterback, but when you're talking to quarterbacks that have played like 3, 4 years and interviewing them, one of the things that I commonly hear them say is that the game has slowed down. And it was kind of like that. I mean, things slowed down, and my whole perception of how I saw things like totally changed. It wasn't one book, it wasn't one particular thing. I think it was just kind of like compounding interest, right? I think they just kind of compounded on each other. So I mean, now when I see an influential person doing something or saying something, like I see the big picture, not just what it is that they're saying.
And how do you think that's changed you, as an investor and as a person?
Well, as a person, I it's made me, even though I still stay to the background, I am coming more forward more often. And so it has helped me realize more about me and what it is that drives me, which then allows me to then bring more to others.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the best way to say that because I haven't answered this question before. But
I
yeah,
told
I
you we were
mean,
gonna go
I
deep.
know
We're gonna get to know Aaron today.
there you go. There you go. So yeah, I mean, I realized that if money wasn't an issue, what would you do that you could just do and not worry about? And it wasn't until people around me pointed out that I spend too much time talking to people and too much time helping and giving value without monetizing
Mm.
that I
I feel
realized
you on
that
that.
I just really love helping people, and I wanna be able to pour as much as I can into them to be able to help them solve whatever it is that they're working on.
Yeah, I completely understand because I'm the same way. I do a lot of that. And really, that is a lot of the reason why I was like, okay, how can I be able to share a lot of the knowledge that I have that I've gained from connecting with others and share them, right? And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast because I know there's valuable people out there such as yourself and I want to be able to share that with people in the world and I want to be able to help as many people too. So it really is having to find, okay, how do I do that? Right. But for someone who doesn't have that guidance, like you did at the beginning, what would you say to them now?
Well, I constantly, because I've heard it enough, I guess that I've adapted it. But I'm constantly telling new people that I see at meetups that are, what do I? A lot of them feel like they're behind, or they don't have what they need to move forward. And I find myself often telling them, "You're right where you're supposed to be
Mhm.
right now. You're right where you're supposed to be. Don't worry about it. It'll happen." Trying to, I think a lot of it for most people is mindset that things aren't going to happen instantly, that things take time, and you shouldn't do it by yourself. So you got to talk to people. That's what I'd probably tell people. Talk to people, make it a point to reach out to one person a day or two people a day, or, whatever your bandwidth is, and just talk to them, connect. Don't worry about the only make an appointment with somebody if you're bringing them value. Just talk to them, do a 15-minute connect, whether it's on the phone or on the Zoom, find out what they're doing. Tell them where you're at in your struggles. And 9 times out of 10, especially if you're talking to somebody who has been around longer or done more, they may have a solution that worked for them that helps solve what it is that you're trying to deal with right now. So probably the best thing that people could do, I mean, you just got to try some stuff. I mean, you could you could try to figure out what kind of avatar you are and what makes you feel good. And you could go through what is it? The 7-layer dip, the whys, right? Ask yourself why 7 times to find out what your why is. But even if you have your why, like for a long time, my why was, my family, my kids, my grandkids, and that kind of stuff. But you got to go deeper. So, I mean, that all
What's
comes
your
back
why
to
right now?
self-discovery. It's a little too much knowing Aaron on a first date. Right
I'm
now,
gonna put you real out there. I'm gonna put you out there, and I really am.
so, I had a couple of businesses and I didn't do things the way that I should have done. There were a lot of failures and a lot of, I mean, I had successful businesses, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And so, like, one of my large goals right now is to continue doing the underwriting and that kind of stuff. I mean, that's more my active. I mean, I already have those people, so I still have to be there to protect them from getting into bad deals, right? So
Yeah.
I still have that, but over the next 5 years, I want to help like 10,000 people. I mean, I'm still working on some tweaks here, but the goal is to help like 10,000 entrepreneurs get to the next level through scaling, acquiring, or retiring is what I want to do. And it perfectly lines up with me wanting to buy businesses. So, and it lines up with me being able to help people. But I didn't, I didn't exit my business like I should have. Didn't know what I didn't know. And I don't want other people to deal with that, or
No, that makes sense.
I'll
Yeah.
just
And
leave it at that.
yeah, I like it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. I know that some of these are kind of maybe a little bit out there, but I want people to know that regardless of where you're at, there's a level of growth in us that sometimes it may not be seen. And it's there. It's there and it's gonna be whether you're on the sideline just kind of observing, or if you're the one out there actually taking pictures and all that. But there is some level of growth, and I want to be able to share that with everyone out there. And so you mentioned earlier for those listening, you've kind of, you're getting more out there now. How has that played a role for you with building relationships and networking?
It's all about relationships. I mean, looking back, I mean, everything's about relationships. So it's all networking, and there's going to be some people that you just don't vibe with, and there's going to be other people that you're like, yes, I need to find a way to do a deal with you. I need to find a way to do something so that we continue, so that our relationship grows.
Yes.
So that's been big. I mean, the Squad Up Summit, the last two were amazing. I've had the opportunity to be in masterminds or to be in higher level rooms, but essentially getting into higher level rooms with people playing on a larger scale. I mean, there's definitely that imposter syndrome feeling, like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not at this level, I shouldn't be here. But being there and making those connections and starting to form those relationships, there's people who will pull you up when you vibe together, or there's something that you realize that even though they're at a higher level than you, they're on a later chapter in life than you are, or in the investment journey, there's something that they need that you could bring them. So there's
Yeah.
still a way that you could provide value.
I feel like they're able to see, because they are at that higher level, they're able to see what we don't, right? What we aren't able to, and see the potential in us before we can. And that's a lot of the reason why they pull us up. So
Totally
that's
agree.
huge. That's why you need to be in those rooms. So yes.
Yeah. They've already gone the path that we've traveled, or the path that
Yep.
we're currently on. They've already been there. So you're absolutely right. I totally agree. They look back and they're like, "Oh, well, there's a cliff coming up. Let me go ahead and let you know about it."
So, what are some of the things that you do to like, what's your approach or to building those relationships and to keep them long term?
My approach. Well, not being
Sending a
the
message and being
extroverted
like,
type.
hey,
Yeah, I'm not the one that necessarily goes up and just introduces themselves to somebody new. Luckily, I've been around long enough that when I go to a meetup, somebody else will bring somebody over and be like, "Hey, you guys need to meet." And then I'm like, "Oh, hey, it's great to meet you," and everything's great. I'm just not normally that icebreaker. What I
yeah,
found myself doing at this last squad up is connecting other people, friends that I know or people that I work with. I'm meeting with them. We're standing there, we're chatting, and they're like, I'm like, well, where are you at? And they're like, oh, well, I really need such and such. It's like, I know the perfect person. Da, 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 da. Or
yeah,
there was a couple of times where I drug one person across the way to physically introduce them to somebody else. I was like, hey, this person needs money because they're buying a business. You have money. You guys need to talk.
yeah. That's
So
awesome.
I enjoyed doing that. That was
Yeah,
fun.
that's really cool. And for someone out there who doesn't have any connections or, hasn't, you know, just starting out, what's the best way for them to build a network that you'd say?
I think it's harder online. I mean, you should definitely get in the Zooms and get in the rooms and, be active in the chat. I'm totally not. So I can tell you all the stuff. I know what not to do. So this is why I'm telling you what you should do, right? Be
Yes.
active in the chat, save the chat, reach out to people. If somebody says something that resonates with you, reach out to them later after the Zoom. That's if you're doing stuff virtually. You get the chance. I mean, there's nothing like an in-person connection. We're still humans. AI is amazing, but we're still humans. So
Yes.
you still need that personal connection. And so I would say go to local meetups and say, I'm new. And that's it. I mean, somebody will probably come up to you because I can't find a place where somebody doesn't come up to me. Somebody will
Yeah.
probably come up to you and go, hey, what do you do? And so if you don't do anything, you haven't figured out your identity yet, you don't know what you want to do yet, just say, I'm new, and then just see where the conversation goes.
Yeah.
Be
Awesome.
yourself.
Yes. I love it. So if you were starting over today, would you do things differently, especially from where you're at right now?
Part of me wants to say yes. Part of me wants to say, if I were able to go back and talk to my younger self, these are all the wonderful things I would tell him. The other part of me knows what my wonderful self would have said back, my younger self, right? And so I think if I went back and changed stuff, I wouldn't be who I am right now. So there's plenty of stuff that I could look back and go, huh, how much different would things have been if this had happened? But I don't have time to look in the rear view. I'm going forward. So
Exactly.
yeah, I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
Exactly. That's so good. What's a daily habit or mindset shift that you do on a daily basis that makes a big difference for you?
Biggest one that makes a difference for me, this is new. I'm only about 3, 4 weeks in, is the calendar. I'm really, really living by my calendar. I tried doing time blocking and that kind of stuff before in the past over the years. Tried it a couple of times. And I was recently told that I need to, you know, I need to focus on the calendar. So I went back to it. And one of the things that drove me away from it before was I would block time for my discovery calls on my calendar, which links, of course, to my Calendly or whatever I was using at the time. And so then when you go to book, it would be blocked. And nobody could block because I time blocked it over here because I was trying to use my calendar to manage my time. And then just recently, 3, 4 weeks ago when it became a thing again, I was like, okay, well, I got to figure this out. And it was so stupid. It's like this one little checkbox that I just need to check on my calendar that allows it to see that I'm available, but this is my time frame that I do what I do.
Hmm.
So now that's what I'm doing. My habit is daily. I'm in my calendar and everything is blocked. I mean, I'm pretty much a week out on pretty much anything that's going on. So it's made a big difference because I'm able to focus during my certain time blocks. I got certain time blocks where I do my underwriting. I got certain time blocks where I do other things. And so I'm able to just really focus instead of trying to multitask and do stuff all
Yes.
throughout the day and just work off of a to-do list like
Yeah.
I have for years. So
That's really good. That's really good. Because what you're saying is those are two different things.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
I like
still
that.
will make a to-do list every now and then, but I've since pretty much moved away from the to-do list, and I know because it's on my calendar what it is that I'm supposed to do. Even if I have a block, like on the weekends, often one of those days I'll have a block of time where I'm essentially doing property maintenance or working on the house or whatever. But if I know that this weekend I'm crawling under the house and changing out the water filter or doing whatever thing needs to be done, it's in that appointment, in that calendar block of what it is that
Yes.
I'm doing. So that essentially is my to-do list, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's really good. I think for us right now, we're really having to differentiate the difference between time blocking and the to-do list, right? It's like, okay, between this time and this time, there's these things to do. So it's really having to navigate that a lot. And we're learning still. It's been over almost 3 years and we're still learning.
I mean, I'm still learning as well with the calendar. At the end of the week, on Sundays, then I'm setting my calendar. I'm working on my calendar for the next week, but I'm also going back and looking at my calendar for last week and seeing how things shook out. So, like today, for instance, if I'm doing something and it takes longer than what it is blocked on my thing, then I adjust that so that when I look back, I can see how much time it actually. So I'm using my calendar as my to-do list and what I'm supposed to be working on, but I'm also using it to essentially audit my time to know what it was that I did last week. And so it's making a difference, but I'm still adjusting. I mean, there's some things that are your non-negotiable. So this is okay, I'm going to be in the gym at this time every morning, or I'm going to get up every morning and this is my time to spend it with my wife before she goes to work, or whatever. I have my non-negotiables, and then I
Yes.
have my different blocks of time that are basically money making activities, because that's the focus, right?
Yeah.
So luckily, because of how I have things set up, some things are fluid. I mean, I have it blocked, but if something should come up and all of a sudden I get a call that, I already have a plan for tomorrow. The whole day is blocked. But I get a
Yes.
call tomorrow saying that, or tonight saying that our daughter needs me to watch the grandbabies. My schedule, I'm gonna look at my schedule for tomorrow and be like, okay, I can move this, I can move this. Okay, I got you. But yeah, the calendar, moving away from it was a lot. Moving from a to-do list to a calendar. I still find myself trying to make a to-do list and then I'm like, no.
Yeah,
So
man. What's one piece of advice that you would give someone who's feeling lost or unsure where to start? What would be something that you'd give advice on?
I would say you're not alone. You felt lost before. When I joined the community, I felt fire hosed, just like everybody else.
Yep.
Right? There's just so much information, shiny object, all the wonderful things. Been there, done that, got the shirt. So I would probably say you just need to talk to people at the end of the day, right? TTP,
Yeah.
talk to people.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. How can people get a hold of you, connect with you, and learn more about what you're doing and bring you deals or, how can they do that?
Well, the deals, I need to work on the buy box, and that is on my calendar to do. So I need to get that finished and finalized. It's one of many projects I have. But as far as connecting with me, you can find me on Instagram. I'm on all the platforms. So shoot me a DM. What else? Yeah, that's probably the best way to get hold of me.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sharon, for coming on. I appreciate you just taking the time and getting deep into the questions and so people can know more about you and what you're doing. And I just really appreciate it. And people that you're taking the leap and you're making that jump and you're putting yourself out there. I mean, really, you're in it for the people and you want to help. And so that's huge. And I just thank you because we need more of that. So, and we definitely need more underwriters such as yourself. So we appreciate what you do because you're the one who really helps us. Hey, hey, hey! There's like a ledge right there. Don't step, please, because you're able to see that risk, right? So thank you for all you do, and yeah, guys, go give him a follow. Go check him out. See what he's doing. Reach out to him. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys on the next one.